Good afternoon. I would like to begin by thanking General Jones for his kind remarks and his kind introduction. And I would also like to thank the American-Turkish Council's President, Howard Beasy, for this invitation to be here with all of you today. Thank you both for your distinguished military service to the United States. I also appreciate the very warm welcome from the ATC's Vice Chairman and CEO of Kibar Holding, Mr. Tamar Saka, and I thank the entire ATC staff for bringing us together today. This has been a wonderful lunch, and I've really enjoyed it. This conference and your work over the years has helped forge invaluable connections between our economies and our peoples. I want to pass my warm regards to Turkish Ambassador Kilic, with whom I've had the honor and pleasure of working since I became Undersecretary. It is these connections that anchor our close partnership and energize our work together. Turkey and its citizens live at the center of challenging times in a challenging region. No country has done more to help Syrians, hosting over 3 million refugees and serving as a key logistical hub for humanitarian support to help the 6 million internally displaced Syrians seek shelter and sustenance inside Syria. And let me be clear, the United States and Turkey need each other. Ours is not a partnership of convenience or of temporary interests. It is one of conviction, a time-tested alliance built on the enduring foundation of common interests, mutual respect, and shared values. The threats we face from adversaries like Iran, as well as terrorists and non-state actors like ISIS and Hezbollah, are acute, persistent, and complex. Our governments may not always see eye to eye, but we achieve better results and are stronger when we work together. The United States wants Turkey to succeed. In fact, it is in the best interests of the United States for Turkey to be a strong, peaceful, prosperous, and democratic nation. Our peoples share a dynamic entrepreneurial spirit that fires our economies and pushes them forward through even the toughest of times. And both the United States and Turkey are committed to fostering peace and prosperity in the region. As demonstrated by last week's meeting between President Trump and President Erdogan, the United States and Turkey are committed to strengthening the deep and diverse relationship between our two countries. This relationship includes our strong NATO bond, our mutual goal to defeat ISIS, and a growing economic relationship that seeks to promote greater prosperity in both of our countries. Our most pressing and immediate shared goal today is the lasting defeat of ISIS. Working together to combat ISIS will take time, but ISIS is on the run in Iraq and Syria. The coalition to defeat ISIS, of which Turkey is a central partner, is moving swiftly to consolidate our gains. We agree with our Turkish partners that long-term stability can only return to these liberated areas when the local governing structures reflect the diversity of the people governed. And we recognize that in the long run, Syria needs an inclusive, democratically elected government representing that country's diversity. We want a Syria that is whole, prosperous, and at peace with itself and its neighbors. We also recognize that Turkey has been buffeted by extremist terror. Whether it come from ISIS or the PKK, our response is the same. As President Trump said in Riyadh a few days ago, this is not a battle between different faiths, different sects, or different civilizations. This is a battle between barbaric criminals who seek to obliterate human life and decent people of all religions who seek to protect it. And we can only overcome this evil if the forces of good are united and strong. And as President Trump reaffirmed last week, we support Turkey in the fight against terror. To the PKK, we want to be particularly clear. Violence against innocent civilians is never justified, and the United States has been and always will be unequivocal in our strong condemnation of the PKK. As the President said in Riyadh, our friends will never question our support, and our enemies will never doubt our determination. Our partnerships will advance security through stability, not through radical disruption. Let me emphasize that our alliance is not built solely on shared interests. It's also based on shared values. That's why Americans were shocked by last summer's illegal coup attempt, which was an affront to the Turkish people and their commitment to the ideals and institutions of democracy. Brave Turkish citizens faced down tanks, defending their democracy and sending a powerful message to the world. Americans were impressed by the courage and determination of ordinary Turks to defend their democratic institutions when they were under attack. And that is why, also, Americans were so concerned and disturbed by the violent incident outside the Turkish residence during President Erdogan's visit last week. During that incident, Americans saw lawful protesters attacked at Sheridan Circle. It is important to note that in the United States, such protests are legal, protected, and customary. They are a manifestation of rights that we hold dearly. In this regard, we found the attack to be deplorable and lacking in the respect for our laws that we expect from visitors. In addressing this subject, however, I would like to acknowledge and thank Ambassador Kilic for the work he did in attempting to stop the fight, calm nerves, and address the aftermath. Thank you, sir. Friends who care for each other and respect each other, and the United States and Turkey are such friends, speak clearly to one another. As Turkey recovers from last July's coup attempt, we would like to see the state of emergency lifted as soon as possible, as an indicator that Turkey has confidence in its own stability and security, and to show that Turkey is and remains open for business to investors from around the globe. Because, as we all know, challenges to the rule of law also dampen trade and investment. They make it harder for us to achieve our common goal of expanding trade and investment between our countries, which will help strengthen both the United States and Turkey's economy. When officials take action that appear to threaten democratic institutions, the business climate worsens. When the independence of the judiciary and regulatory agencies are compromised, investors shy away. When press outlets are shuttered and freedom of expression is conditional, innovation is stifled. And in today's super-connected world, global investors can learn about negative developments nearly instantaneously. But no matter how complex the U.S.-Turkey relationship might be, there is one group that has had much less difficulty listening to each other, understanding each other, and working to achieve beneficial results. All of you, the business community. Business is the backbone of the U.S.-Turkey relationship, and all of you play an incredibly important role in reminding wider audiences that the United States and Turkey are always stronger when we work together. The potential of our bilateral economic relationship is tremendous, and we remain committed to growing and deepening our country's long-standing trade and investment ties. We have nearly doubled two-way trade in goods since 2009. More than 1,400 American firms do business in Turkey, and at least 60 are using Turkey as headquarters to reach markets in Central Asia, the Middle East, and the Caucasus. And Turkish investment in the United States has nearly doubled in the last several years. This trade and investment relationship creates jobs and builds prosperity in both our countries. Last week, our presidents challenged us to do more, to build even stronger trade and economic relations, and we will now work together with your help, the help of the business community, to do just that. To enable a new dynamism in our economic relationship, we will need to embrace new opportunities and address challenges together. While U.S. companies seek to explore the Turkish market further, they are concerned by burdensome regulations and documentation requirements, rising tariffs, and an increasing policy focus on localization in key sectors such as information technology and pharmaceuticals. These policies impede commercial collaboration and deter inbound investment, and are issues our governments will need to work together to address. Like any trading partners, there are commercial issues we must work through. We need to reactivate our government-to-government trade and investment dialogues that, quite frankly, have been dormant for too long. These discussions can identify opportunities and clear some of the obstacles that prevent American and Turkish companies from building more, selling more, and investing more. I know this is one of Secretary Tillerson's priorities and Secretary Ross's priorities, and we are looking forward to moving ahead in this agenda. Spurring investment requires predictability, and U.S. businesses and investors will look to Turkey to foster a transparent and predictable business environment by strengthening the rule of law. Turkish and U.S. businesses want to see a stable, reliable business climate where the rules are fairly and transparently enforced by an independent judiciary and impartial regulatory agencies. A vibrant culture of entrepreneurship, trade, and commerce will thrive on foundations of rights and freedoms upon which citizens feel fully able to pursue their ambitions, to express their opinions, to bring their ideas to life, and to take their creations in new and exciting directions as they develop. Governments must put in place the policies to allow new businesses with new ideas to flourish and then get out of the way. That's what entrepreneurs most need, being empowered for success and the flexibility to innovate without fear. In order to maintain and increase its economic development, Turkey should live up to the universal democratic principles that its citizens defended last July. The great potential for growth in our relationship won't happen automatically overnight. It can only be achieved through sustained hard work on the part of both governments and businesses to identify and reduce barriers and to resolve outstanding trade concerns that hold us back. Being a diplomat is an incredible profession, as the ambassador knows well. Our job is not just to build bridges, it's to cross them. It's to find a means and a mechanism to ensure that we can always communicate and that, to the extent possible, we can always understand each other. We are grateful for not just the partnership, but the alliance that Ambassador Kilic described. We are grateful for the years in which we have worked side by side with Turkey, not just in a dangerous and challenging region, but globally. It is our purpose to continue that relationship and to deepen it, but we cannot do it without all of you. In the 21st century, the relationships between nations will not be defined by relationships between governments. Our relationships will be defined by the relationships between our peoples and between our societies. And the American-Turkish business community, Americans here in the United States investing and working in Turkey, Turkish businessmen and women investing and working in the United States, and those of you who shape joint partnerships and create joint supply chains are going to play a huge role in this relationship, not only in setting its tone and setting its course, but also in determining its accomplishments. So I want to thank all of you for being here today. I want to underscore how important your work is. And as we reflect on the very important, I would say historic visit of President Erdogan here and his meeting with President Trump, I can say with confidence that we're headed in the right direction. We've got a lot of work to do, but we're ready to do the work. So thank you all very much.